Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, a lot of progress, so maybe it should have been a like show. I had a lot of anxiety going into the 4th of July weekend, and a big reason for the anxiety is that I personally 4th of July a lot differently than a lot of my colleagues. And a lot of times that created a lot of rift, a lot of people who didn't think that my priorities were all that important. So for example, my number one priority every 4th of July is to make sure I get out of the area where there's going to be a lot of fireworks, a lot of noises, a lot of loud parties. Get out of the home if I have roommates who might be throwing a party. And oftentimes that means leaving the Phoenix area, or back in Seattle where I used to live, leave the Seattle area, go to Ellensburg, go to Vantage, Washington. Now, that's fine, I love doing that. Where I have a problem is when people don't think it's a priority. And see, I had a lot of trouble at my last job. I so badly wanted to leave the Phoenix area on 2 occasions because I have anxiety toward loud, crowded environments. And we had 2 events here that drew large crowds. First, we had the Super Bowl being played here, and I so badly wanted to leave that weekend because I knew traffic was going to be a mess. I knew that there's going to be a lot of loud cheering and all that. And I just have a difficult time with social environments like that. But I don't think I would have got a whole lot of reception if I had told my boss, I'm taking off this Saturday because Super Bowl was the next day and I wanted to. Had I told my boss, I'd like to go see the Super Bowl, I might have had a better luck with that, right? Because a lot of my colleagues were leaving the Phoenix area to do other things that jived better with the culture, right? I had one colleague who went to Disney World with his kids. I had another colleague who I don't remember what else was going on, but you get the idea. Popular things to do, right? Nobody said I wanted to leave the area because there's going to be a Super Bowl being played, right? So I didn't get to leave. And then Taylor Swift was here one weekend as well, here in Phoenix, and I so badly wanted to get out of the area. Don't get me wrong, I love Taylor Swift. I'd probably leave the area just to go listen to her on YouTube. I just cannot stand the loud, crowded environment. Let's make that clear. But unfortunately, that doesn't jive very well with a lot of my peers. And so, long story short, I had to put up with all the drunk drivers on the road during the Super Bowl. I had to put up with Swifties who like to text and drive. And meanwhile, my colleagues are going to Disney World. They're living their best lives. And so long story short, I got forced out of the job after a number of events like that. I teach at a community college now, and I had a lot of trepidation going into the 4th of July. Do I tell the truth about what I did, or do I lie about it? Do I try to fit in? Do I be myself? A lot of trepidation going into the 4th of July. And I decided to be myself, because sooner or later, if I have to lie about my lifestyle, I'm not going to hold a career like that, right? If I'm going to spend the rest of my life lying, it's going to tear me apart, right? It's probably going to be even more frustrating than just having to speak up for myself. And you know what? I actually got my way here at the community college. Now, unfortunately, I had too much doubt. See, one thing that has been burning me out as of late is that I teach a math class right now, but our math department chair is thinking of working on opening a computer science department. And I want to make sure that I solidify my application there, because in my mind I'm thinking, who's gonna hire somebody who's solosexual, has anxiety, wants to leave the area every time Taylor Swift comes here, and so I was working on an AI for the game of Ticket to Ride, and because I used the Poland version of Ticket to Ride, I named the AI E-Polonium. And I got myself seriously burnt out doing that over the 4th of July weekend, and I ended up vomiting. and I affectionately called the symptoms I had over the weekend. I affectionately said I had E. polonium toxicity, and then I come back and I realize that, you know, people accept me for who I am. Maybe I don't have to push so hard on that publication, and so I've kind of eased it out a little bit. I've also eased down on my art projects, and so that was good. Anyways, some progress here. I'm so glad the 4th of July didn't turn out to be the disaster I thought it did. I'm still upset that I had to stay in the Phoenix area the week that Taylor Swift was here. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Although there's been a lot of progress.